Amanda, maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Well, my name's Amanda Sophia, and I live in Wexford in Ireland. I'm born and raised in Ireland, but I was 20 years living in San Diego in America. And now I'm back in Ireland the last 6 years. I've been practicing and teaching. I have a school. I founded the International Feng Shui School, and I've been teaching that for over 20 years.
Mhm.
And also Divine Woman, which is a year-long working with the Celtic wheel as well,
Okay.
and geomancy. So, but one of the things I absolutely love is helping support people in a holistic approach,
Yeah.
body, mind, spirit, but also their environment, their home. And so that's why I'm really excited for our conversation today, coming together with our skills and our wisdom to really facilitate. I think most importantly, as we know, it's the self-love first, right? The
Yeah.
worthy first, and
Absolutely.
then from there. So,
I think I can't think who said it, but if you can't love yourself, how can you expect anyone else to love you? And I think
yeah,
that's a big aspect of it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely. So, Amanda, I suppose for people that don't know, maybe what is Feng Shui?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, there's so many ways I can explain that, but I think the most important way is, and I think we all deserve this, but when we walk into our homes, we should feel like we're getting a hug, an embrace, right?
Mhm.
And our home should be this source of that we feel safe. It should be this source where we feel inspired. And our home is like the microcosm, right, of the whole macrocosm where we get to kind of choose, like, this is who I am, and is my environment in alignment with that? And then this is where I want to go with my life. Like, this is how I want to feel. And is my home supporting that? Because a lot of people are living in spaces that are really the past, like maybe it's past relationships or past wounds or hurts or, whatever it is. And it's so interesting because it's like, you've heard that, like the home speaks. Well, it
Yeah.
really does, and like somebody could not be home and I could walk throughout their home. I mean, I've always been able to see and feel energy even since a young girl, but then just where and how everything's placed, you can just tell what's going on in somebody's life. So it's fascinating. I mean, and the science behind it, it's over 6,000 years old, and there's another really mathematical side to feng shui based on the year the building is built to the degrees it faces, where there's all these calculations. But today, like, I really want to go stuff that people can go, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. I can easily implement this into my home. So that's my intention for today. People take away lots of good tips to create what we're talking about in their home.
Okay, excellent. So I suppose we'll start talking about love, as it is the month of love, and we're
Yeah.
almost at Valentine's Day. If somebody is single, I suppose we'll start with maybe a single person, and they're looking to attract love into their house. How would they go about it?
Oh, yes. Well, okay. I think let's start with the bedroom, right? Because
Okay.
the bedroom, we say is, in function, we should say there's nothing that should be in your bedroom unless it's to rest, good night's sleep, right? And romance,
Okay.
right? Because a lot of the time I walk into people's spaces, and let's just say it is, and we're talking about somebody who's single, right?
Mhm.
That where you said you wanted to start. A lot of time I'll go in and somebody has one nightstand, one light on that nightstand, and they might even be sleeping in a single bed. Now that a room for someone else, right? Did I lose you for a
Yes.
second?
Just for a second, I'm not sure what happened there. We're back.
Okay. So you're just basically saying to the universe, you're saying to yourself, you're saying, like, I don't have room for somebody. So, like, the very first suggestion I would say is we want to have that size bed where two people fit comfortably. And if you have one nightstand on the other, we want to have one nightstand on the other side. Like, so it says, like, I want somebody to share my life with, and I've got space. It's just like, same thing if somebody's closet is busting out and you can't fit anything else in it. You know what they're saying? They're saying, my life is too full. I've got no space for you. So, like, really simple things that we suggest is clear out your closet. If you don't love it or wear it or need it, clear it out. And then, like, you want to at least have, like, this amount of space open. And I say put 8 is a very auspicious number. It's in
Mhm.
feng shui, it's like prosperity, and it's that infinity sign. So make space in the closet and have empty hangers, right? So it's saying, I've got space for you. And this doesn't mean that they're going to move into your place unless that's what you'd like. It just means that you're saying, I am making and I have space for you.
Okay. Okay. So clearing out a little bit of space in the closet and adding a second, if you only have one bedside, adding a second bedside locker with a lamp is probably one of the first steps you can take in terms of feng shui for attracting in love. Is there anything else that you can start with within the bedroom?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, tons. I mean, if you put one, you know, it's you know what you have to think about. Just think about if you are single, how would you set it up for two people, right? And then like if your bedroom has your office desk in there and you know you work a lot, you're kind of saying, that's kind of priority to me. So
Hmm.
again, some people, it all has to be in one space. And if that is the case, then we want to make sure the desk is really clear at the end of the day. There's no clutter. Maybe you have a beautiful piece of fabric that you place over, you know, you close down the laptop,
Hmm.
you put the piece of fabric over it. And so it's kind of like closing work for the day, because we really want to separate those two energies. I mean, and I get it, Barry. We both love what we do, and it doesn't feel like work, right? It's our
Yeah.
job, it's our purpose. But at the same time, like, you know, it's like we don't want that feeling of work is more important. It's a priority, and it also makes it feel the relationship is work, right? So we want to have anything like, and it's just like you don't have all your business books in your room. Like what we want to bring into the room is the romance, poetry, and the romance. But like we want when we step into the room for it to exude love and romance. Like we want to look at the artwork. So again, when I walk into, because I've been doing this for over 20 years, I've gone in and out of over 30,000 homes. So like my first rodeo, you know. But I go in and I see this artwork, and it's, I mean, the one that I've seen so many times is like there's a single woman and she's like sad and lonely, and it's just like,
Okay.
okay, yeah, clearly, you know, that's what's going on here, or man, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, how about we, and this has
Mm.
to come from you, like it has to come from that person who's like, I see that in that picture now. But you see, what I really believe is that artwork of maybe somebody looking really sad and lonely, whatever, served its purpose.
Yeah.
Because you know, we don't always want to be in a relationship our entire life. You have to have had that, or cultivate that even within your relationship of, I know who I am and I'm a whole being, you know. And so maybe somebody was in a relationship and they came out of it and there was heartbreak, and you know, and they needed a long time to heal or period of time. So that artwork served, you know, maybe them like really processing the emotions and the grief that they needed to. But now it's like, okay, this is what I want. I want this loving relationship in my life. So this is what we want the artwork to say.
Okay.
Now, you know, artwork is something so personal. So it's got to be when you look at it, when you look at it, you see love. Like, so like that's, it's in the eyes of the beholder. So it could be two beautiful flowers, roses that are leaning into each other, or two lovebirds, or it could be a couple walking down the beach. You know, it's just
Okay.
what it is. But we want to step into that room and it's just like the love space. So
Excellent. I love it. And is there any specific, I suppose, auspicious colors or anything else that people can bring into their bedroom if they're looking to attract in love?
yeah, yeah. So I would say, you know, if we look at the energetic system in the body,
Hmm.
chakras, right? So I'm in my green, we've got the
Yeah.
heart chakra, right? So green is beautiful, but green is also a very healing color, and it is abundance in feng shui, right? It's a color of prosperity and money. But then you could do like a really earthy color, so like grounding into that, like grounding into yourself, grounding into that relationship. And then, you know, of course, with Valentine's and all that, you know, it's like red, love, heart. So there could be little splashes of red. But one thing that's really, really important when it comes to the design, right? Because
Hmm.
I've seen this a lot, like somebody who's single, let's say a woman who's single, everything's just way too pink and way too flowery or way too whatever, you know, and it's just like, do you really think you know, a partner is going to feel comfortable there? And just same thing, like, you know, we want to have that balance in the design, honoring, you know, the yin and the yang within all of us.
Okay.
So, you know, I think color is really important. Artwork, looking around your room at the statues. So all of that as soon as you step in. And then the next place that I would say that you'd want to look at is the front door. And the front
Okay.
door, what we call in feng shui, it's like the mouth of qi, which is the other word, you know, for energy, like
Hmm.
prana. And a lot of that front door energy, a lot of the energy comes in the front door. So we want to look at our front doors because opportunities come in there, prosperity comes in there. And so if it's, you know, you get up there and you can't get the key in, it's just not, you're struggling with your key every time you get there. Like, what is that saying with you not being able to get in your own front door where all the opportunities come in? So that alone could be a block, right? So we want to make sure our front door is in really good working order. The key works, the doorbell works, the paint isn't chipping. So and like a lot of time people come in the front door and they can only get it half open because behind the front door is all the shoes and the coats and the scarves and everything like that. So we want it really organized, and we want the door to be able to open fully. So fully allow synchronicities to align, opportunities to come your way. And, we want to 101 feng shui is look after the clutter. Um, and that leads to a whole nother conversation about clearing stuff from past relationships, which we can chat about as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the front door, I was reading, I suppose I've been reading a couple of books recently, and that's one of the reasons why I reached out to you, was it was talking about doubles, the need for doubles in the house when it comes to, so two ducks, two plants, two lamps, two of everything. And if that's what you're trying to attract love into your life, that you need doubles. So is that important, not only just in the bedroom, but also at the front door?
Yeah, great point. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. Transparency. Like I want to honor, like, because there's no one fits all when it comes to feng shui. Like, who are you and what are your hopes and dreams and desires? Like, what is it that you want to bring in? So I worked with this lady and she's like, I really want two women. I really want to be in a relationship. There's three of us. I said, okay, here's your, like, that wall directly across from your bed is the first thing you see when you wake up in the morning. It's the last thing you see before you go to sleep at night. So that's like your power wall. And so get these three beautiful women, and like within no time at all, she was in the tired, So yeah, things in pairs ideally if we want to be in relationship, So like if somebody is just constantly got a table for one set up in their dining room, what is that saying? So I would say not like you've got to feed two people when there's only one, but just like put out two placemats and leave the two placemats set out. And then if we want to look at the whole home, obviously we're not just looking at the bedroom, we're not just looking at the front door. Like, clutter that's a huge part of feng shui, but the southwest direction, right, is the love area. We call it the love, romance, and kind of marriage area. It's the relationship area of the home. So the southwest, whether it's the bathroom, whether it's the kitchen, whether it's the living room, we can bring in elements to honor relationship. So whether it's pairs, we could bring in a pair of rose quartz. We could bring, which is the pink crystal. We could, and a lot of the time, I don't know if you work a lot with this, Barry, but I get people to write something called a letter to their love. Yeah. So I would get them to write that letter, because you know how powerful that is, to really allow yourself to go there, to feel into what it would be like, what it is like to be in that loving relationship. And then you write a letter to that person. So I get them to fold it up and put it in the southwest area of their home, right? You can put affirmations, you could put artwork pertaining to love in the southwest area. So like and it can also be the southwest corner of every room.
Okay. Wow. So in every room there is essentially a love corner in it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, the southwest direction of every space. Like, so, and the thing is this premise of, say if you're living alone, and like this can be weaved into every area of your home, like into the living room, the kitchen, where not that you have to buy two of everything, but just like, what would it be like, and how would I set up my space where it's not so everything's just one in this space? You know what I mean? So you just want to, it's like looking through everything through a conscious lens of, again, this is who I am now, but this is where I want to go. It's not the past.
Yes.
So letting go of that, and that's where I really feel like decluttering, and then also energetically clearing your home as well. So homes that we live in, that people have gone through divorces and separations and different things like that. It's scientifically proven now that everything is made up of energy. So if that hasn't been cleared, the next people that move into the house are moving into all of that, perhaps arguments and fighting energy or divorce energy. So, you do your saging, you open up the doors, open up the windows, and we want to cleanse the space. And I suggest that regularly, because, we go through peaks and valleys ourselves, and we really want to keep our vibration high, but also that energy of the home.
Beautiful, beautiful. I suppose another thing that I was curious about is, are we trying to attract energy into the love corner, the southwest corner of the house, or are we trying to get the energy out of there? If you get what I'm asking, are we trying to?
I think
Yeah.
it's flow. I don't think it's
Oh,
necessarily in or out because it's well, okay, it is definitely towards the home. Like
yeah.
you've got an outer gate. We want to bring the chi to the gate, but then from the gate into our homes, we want to bring. So we definitely want to bring the energy into our home. But as far as within our home, we want it flowing. Like here's the best way to imagine chi: this beautiful, gentle, meandering stream, right? Because
Okay.
chi flows like water. So we don't want a rushing Niagara Falls because that's going to be like ah, and then that's why, like from a feng shui standpoint, living right on the sea is
Mhm.
too much energy. It's way too much. People feel quite stressed out, you know,
Okay.
that. But then we don't want a lake which is completely stagnant and the energy's not flowing. So we really want the energy to just be flowing, you know, gently around the space.
Mhm. So there was, as I was reading more about this, I started to laugh because I thought about a previous relationship and I worked out the southwest corner of the house. And I think you're going to guess where I'm going to go with this. And I realized it was the toilet. And I'm just wondering if someone's love corner in their house or in their home is their bathroom, what can they do to essentially, because the more I read, the more I realized that energy can flow out of the house down the toilet, down the drain. So what I suppose things can people do to stop that
Oh,
happening?
absolutely, absolutely. And here's the thing, like everybody's got some area in a funky area. Like southeast is the wealth, and somebody's got a bathroom in the southeast, you know, like, but I don't think that really matters. I think
Okay.
you just work with what you've got. And that's the beauty of feng shui. It can remedy, it can raise the frequency. So let's just say it is the bathroom. Well, the very first thing I would suggest is always closing the toilet lid down. And this isn't like the superstitious, like, oh, your money's going to go down the toilet, but it's kind of like saying, I'm going to have this space held, this sacred
Yeah.
space held versus it going down, right?
Mhm.
Second of all, bring things in pairs in the bathroom, like paint it a beautiful color. You know, there's some people like, it's just the bathroom. Well, I would bring a lot of beauty into it. So what is beauty to you? A color that really resonates. We want to stay away from blues because that's water and there's already a lot of water and we don't want to overdo that where it's like this flooding of energy, right? So I would say earthy colors, greens, anything like that would be really good. And then definitely bring things in pairs in the bathroom. Like if you want to bring your, as you said, the mandarin ducks, or if you want to
Mhm.
bring a piece of rose quartz or a beautiful piece of art with love, you know. So you might bring some really luxurious, gorgeous towels and beautiful, you know, mats on the floor. Because a lot of the time, and Barry, I bet you this is something that you get to see in this amazing work that you do, that a lot of the time I go into people's homes and they're like, oh, I'd love to go to Italy, but I'm going to wait till I meet the person. It's like, no, go now for you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
do
I
you.
literally this is literally a conversation I have very often in my work is they say things like, I'm going to buy a house when, and I'm like, or I'm going to go there when, and I think, oh,
Yeah. It's
actually go because that
all,
may be what's holding you back. Do go. Yeah, I'm a big advocate in don't. And I was something I was extremely guilty of myself in the past. And when I realized that that was actually a stumbling block, that's when I kind of it broke free. So it's amazing. So I suppose we've talked about
yeah.
individuals that are single,
Yeah.
and we've talked about maybe saging and clearing a space if you've gone through a divorce or a separation. I'm curious for couples that are in love,
Yeah.
and they would like to maybe bring it to a higher or better vibration. What can
Absolutely.
they
And
do?
one little thing I want to add is, you know,
Mhm.
I'm going to go on the holiday when, from a feng shui perspective, a lot of time I go in and people are sleeping in these old tatty pajamas and these old tatty sheets, and there's this gorgeous stuff in the door, or the candles are all around the bath, but they've never been lit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
light the candles, people. Wear the silk lingerie and
I
pajamas.
think that's a very Irish thing. Don't light the good candles.
I'm like, light it, put the gorgeous silk bedding now, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, because then that puts you in the vibration of love, and then when we're vibrating at that, that's what we attract, right? So
Absolutely.
okay, I've got a funny story to share with you, because when it comes to couples, you know, like I've been practicing for years and years, and I used to get these calls going, hello, can you come over and feng shui the house? My, you know, husband will be at work in these hours, can you come feng shui it? And then I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm coming that time. Anyway, I'm like, okay, well, first off, shouldn't a relationship have a lot of honesty and shouldn't we,
Yeah.
but the funny thing would be is I would meet, we go over the conversation, they would implement all the Feng Shui remedies, and then I might get a call like a month or two later. Hello, this is such and such. I believe you're at our house doing, and what will have happened is the money will have gone up, the sex will be all of this, and so they're like, what else can we do here?
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. So within a month that people can feel that energy change within their homes.
Oh, I feel like things can start shifting like boom, just like that, because everything is made up of energy. So let's just say, I've got crystals, but let's
Yeah.
just, I've got a crystal here,
Mm-hmm.
and just feel the energy for a second, and I get this crystal and I place it over there.
Yeah.
I can feel in my body the shift of the energy. Because you can imagine when you start moving things, directions around your bed to a different location. And I mean, it starts getting things moving. You let go of all stuff from past hurt and whatever. And it's like, all of a sudden you feel lighter, you've got more energy. And then of course, productivity goes up. So money's, but you see things like tax refunds coming in and, just shifts that happen. So, okay, back to somebody's in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Things maybe are got a little stale or, just the day to day, So what I find, number one, is sometimes I go into the bedrooms and there's just hundreds of kids' photos and in-laws staring at them on the wall. I'm like, yeah, this ain't too good for intimacy right here. Like, okay, this bedroom is for rest and
Yeah.
so if it's not serving that, like, go do a family or something picture wall further down the hallway. Go, the in-laws are they gotta go. Grandparents, everything in the room.
Yeah.
Nobody other than that couple get to be in that room, because the thing is people's lives are busy and there's work stuff in the kitchen and then there's everything's around the house, but it's like that bedroom door, nothing gets in it. That is a sanctuary. That is the place of, as I've said, they say rest or romance or sleep and sex, whichever you want to say. So
Good.
be really mindful of just, first of all, just looking from this lens of, oh my gosh, so clearing all that out. That's the first thing I would say. And then it comes back to if there's work stuff. And then I think if there's even making a commitment to each other, we're not going to bring our laptops in here, because what ends up happening is one of it gets on there, we're on our phones, and then I don't get to hear about your day, and then there isn't that emotional connection, and then when there's not that emotional connection, there's not the all the intimacy that follows from there. So it's like making those commitments to start taking that out of the room. And then, like, where's the recent photos of you guys? Where's the happy photos? Where's the joyful photos? Like, so bring some more in. And then again, when you walk into the room, does it exude romance and whatever it is that couple decide brings that there for them, right? So and by making that a priority, you're making each other a priority.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And in terms of then pictures, I imagine it's similar in terms of doubles. We mentioned water flowing. So are images of water in the bedroom good in terms of sparking more romance in the bedroom, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question, but it's kind of like a loaded question, because
Okay.
when it comes to water, wood, fire, earth, and metal, the 5 elements of Feng Shui, what we really do look at is the year the building's built, the degrees it faces, and every home, just like all of us from the moment we're born, are based on how the cosmos and the stars are aligned, are born with our own destiny chart.
So we were speaking about those elements, and I suppose I'm curious in terms of, I have one question for you myself. Where is it?
Yeah, and like, where what we were talking about, you were saying what happens when I move into a home and I feel like there's stuff. So basically what I was saying is we have a soul. I don't know how much you heard, because then I was like, okay, I'm talking to myself. But we walk into a space, there already is a soul agreement in place. So the way, if you're looking to rent or to buy, you go in now, you're like, nah, and then you go in, you're like, oh, this is it, I'm home. There already is a soul agreement where we're going to work with healing that home, and that home is agreeing to heal something within us, right? So if, though, the house has had a divorce, a bankruptcy, or there's been a lot of serious health problems, it tells that there's something out of balance in the house. The way I talk about based on the year it's built, the direction it faces. There's going to be things, though, from a Feng Shui perspective that we can read that will tell us. So if a house has been sold like due to any of those things, it's going to tell us there's a weakness somewhere in the house, but it can be remedied. That's the beautiful thing about Feng Shui, right? But ideally, your best idea is to get a house where, oh, they've outgrown the house, or they got a promotion, they moved there, or the family grew, or you know, whatever it is, like positive things, because that will tell you the house supported them to grow and expand and grow so much that they grew out of it, right? But if you go into a house, and what I was saying is clearly, Barry, you're super, super intuitive, right? So what I would say is trust that, though, because if you walk in that space, you're like, it's got an off energy, then trust that energy is not for you. But if you walk into a house and you're like, I really love it, but I can tell it needs some work.
Yeah.
You want me to talk a little bit about ways that you can clear it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the first thing that I do just on a daily basis is I open up all the doors and all the windows, and I just invite in that freshy day. It's like my daily ritual of serving. We just open all up, whether it's raining, because that's got a great way of cleansing, or it's windy, it just blows away all the cobwebs, or the sun, you know, that fire can transmute and shift energy. But then what I will do, definitely on like the full moons and the new moons, you've got that extra power, right? So I will open everything up. And like if it's somebody's first time clearing, I always just say, you know, ground your energy, connect it down with the earth, connect up with your guides, you know, and surround yourself in white light. Because if you're cleansing a house that lots of people have lived in before you, you don't want to pick up anything energy-wise. So when you surround yourself in white light, you can, if you work with angels, you can call them. If you work with your ancestors, you can call them in. And then I either like to use sage. Actually, I've got a stick here. You could, you know, good old sage, right? You can use Palo Santo, you can use essential oils, or you can use sound vibration. So I've got like singing bowls. But I'll tell you what else can clear a space. Just the clapping, or if you have a special mantra or prayer or anything, like, again, it's like that power of intention. So you open everything up to give it an outlet where to go. It can go on out the windows and go on out the door. Then you know, ground and center your energy. You protect your energy. Then you want to start at the front door, and you want to work clockwise around the house, because we want to move forward in life, right? That's why we do that. So you light your sage. I like to say I like to have a smoking. You want to have a little bowl underneath it, because otherwise, you know, you don't want burning rugs and all sorts of things. And then, so this is a Native American tradition, right? And so ideally, you can tell if the energy is clear or not, because the smoke should go straight up. If you notice that it will not go up and it just keeps going to the side, it is telling you there's stuck energy, and that's why the smoke can't go straight up. So you want to stand in place until it goes from this to straight up. So it's then telling you this is clear, you can move on. And then you really want to follow your intuition. You're like, why am I feeling called to go under that table to clear? Or why am I, because the corners hold a lot of energy. Why am I standing in this corner? And, you know, for all our listeners, you know, people tend to be clairvoyant, clairescent. So some people might notice that they feel things, right? They have this feeling in their gut, that gut instinct, that intuition. Some people might feel something in their throat or in their heart, like, you know, because the body carries that consciousness as well. Or some people might see things, or they might hear something, you know, and it's okay. There's nothing to be scared of. It's just and it's like anything, any muscle that you work out, it's going to get stronger. So if you get into a routine of cleansing your house regularly and really keeping the vibration high, you probably will start sensing energy more and more. So you want to work clockwise around, and then completely from front door all the way back around with sage. And then, so I like to do some kind of like sage, incense, essential oil, you know, something like that. Or then I like to use a sound. I have a crystal singing bowl I use. I have bells. And I just kind of go, oh, what do I feel like? What is the home saying to me? Or what do I feel like I want to clear with today? And sometimes it might be just opening everything up and just sitting in the center of the house. And speaking of the energy, we all know, right, when we're in a relationship and we appreciate our partners or our children or our pets, and like we all are wired to want appreciation and love, right? So this is a biggie. I always ask people, when you enter your home, do your spirits rise or do they fall? And some people tell me, oh, I don't know, I've never thought of that. So can you imagine that you've never thought about, do you feel good when you step into your house? Like that's
Mm.
a huge thing, right? I mean, we all, it is our birthright to walk into our home and feel fully supported and feel safe and feel inspired, right?
Mhm.
So we want to, like, how do I feel in my space? And we want to kind of notice where our energy comes into, or where it flows when we go in, or like, is our energy pulled down? And why is that? You have a pile of like mail you haven't opened as soon as you come in your front door. You've got those big pile of shoes and you don't even wear those shoes. You know what I mean? So it's like really coming attuned to the energy of your home. And I think it's like when you walk into your home, do you have gratitude? I mean, our home protects us from rain, wind, we got running water, we've got like, you ever know when your electricity goes out for a day or two, like, how can I survive? You know, and it's just like we have them all day, every day in our homes. And like we have to show like gratitude this face.
Yeah.
Like I'm always like, I love you home. Or I come in, I'm like, I got a big cheesy grin on my face, and I'm like, I love you, I love you. And I feel like my home's like, I love you too, welcome home, you know. So
Yeah.
and even if you aspire to have a different home, or you would like a bigger home, or you'd like whatever, you know, like give so much love to your home right now. It's just like, oh, it's, you know, like I'll love myself when I lose the weight. I'll love myself when I have the better car. It's like, no, like it's in the now, the here and the now with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and I think that the house I'm living in now, from the minute I walked in, I'm renting it. From the minute I walked in, I was like, I love this space. And even still, when I turn around the corner, and it's a little awkward corner to come around the corner to get in to dry park my car, but I still am like, I love coming home to this
Oh,
house every evening. So and I've lived in places where that wasn't the case, so I can totally, like, I suppose, appreciate that whole sense of loving where you're living, and feeling that good energy. Because I've walked into houses, like everybody in Ireland, you're trying to buy a house, and you're going around and you walk into some house and you're like, this, even if this is the right price, I really can't, this is not the place for me.
that's so good. That is so good to have that clarity, like even if it's the right price, because you know how many homes I've been into and like, tell me about this piece of artwork, and it's just like, you know, they're like, oh, I don't know, I've never really thought of it. And they're like, what is this doing on my walls? And I was like, oh, well, just tell me about it. And they're just like, well, I got it on sale. It's like, but like, no. So like then it wasn't a good deal at all.
Yeah.
So
Excellent. These, I was given a gift of this, and I am not sure. It's a,
yeah, faceted crystal, a Swarovski crystal,
yes.
something. Yeah. Okay. So great question. So there, that's actually a really good crystal to put in the southwest corner, because
Okay.
whatever that crystal does, it amplifies the energy, right? So it does a couple of things. It amplifies. So if you want to enhance love, I'd place it, hang it in the southwest corner. Ideally, they say in like either 8 millimeter red string, centimeter, or inch, you know, depending
Mhm.
on the system you use. Or if you want to increase prosperity, you put in the southeast corner. Another thing that crystal is great for is dispersing, because you know the way it's faceted all the way around.
Yeah.
So it just disperses the energy. So if you have, which is kind of like a major no-no in front door, your front door and back door in line, what happens is the energy goes in one door and goes straight out the other. So, you know, it could be that the paycheck goes in and then you're just handing the money right back out, you know, that kind
Mhm.
of thing.
Yeah.
Or a relationship walks in and then the relationship walks out. So those crystals are really powerful to put like right inside the back door. So when the energy comes in the front door, it's, or even halfway in between the two, it disperses it and it starts to flow around the house. The other place that's really useful, if you have a stairs coming out to the front door, again, that's like all that chi falling down and out the front door. So right inside the front door is another really good place to hang that.
Amazing, amazing, excellent. Amanda, do you have any specific question for me before we go to maybe just the viewers and see if they have any questions for us?
No, I would have, yeah, we'd love to see what questions came
Yeah, so
through.
guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop us in some questions. Um, yeah, so what are your plans for the rest of the week? Do you work mostly online, Amanda, or do you fly out to the States or work in Ireland?
Well, right now I'm predominantly online. Like but I see the thing is with Feng Shui, I do it virtually, so I work with clients all over the world. And but now I'm really predominantly kind of in the teaching because I have a school that trains people in Feng Shui, and
Amazing.
yeah, or they just want to learn for themselves, and they can for every home they move into. And so I have a Feng Shui Your Life program where they learn for themselves, or the Feng Shui Master Certification where people get certified in Feng Shui, and I have consultants practicing all over the world. Yeah.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
how did you step into this Feng Shui world?
Yeah, well, good question. I mean, I've always been very connected with energies. Like
Mhm.
growing up in Ireland here, I was hanging out in the fairy forts and
Yeah.
speaking to the fairies and everything. But then when I moved to America, it was like 26 years ago.
Okay.
My very first house I set up in such a way that everyone used to come and be like, "Oh my God, did you have the house feng shui?" And I was like, "Feng what?" Like I didn't like ever. And people just kept coming and going, "Oh my God, did you have the place feng shui?" And after about 10 people said it to me, I was like, I've got to go and find out what this feng shui stuff is. So at that stage, you didn't have the internet. I show my age here now. It's like, no internet. I went to the library and it was like all these books on feng shui. And to be honest with you, Barry, like school was like, I have dyslexia and I always had a real challenging
Yeah.
time in school and probably ADHD as well. So just school was my thing. But the moment I found feng shui, I just could not read enough. I could not study enough. It was like the chills, like up and down my, it was like, oh my God, this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
That's the minute I found it. And then I went to China and I studied with Feng Shui masters. I've traveled all over the world studying, shamanism. I'm a ordained priestess in
Mhm.
Ireland, a Celtic priestess. Like I've studied all the different sacred sites all around the world. What is that common thread that we want in our spaces? And ultimately, whether it's Machu Picchu in Peru or sacred sites throughout China and Australia, it's that people want to feel safe and they
Mhm.
feel expansive. So that's why if you look at a lot of Delphi, Greece, all these sacred sites around the world, they're built into a mountain, right? So they have
Mhm.
absolute support from behind. And then there's usually this hugely expansion out front. So it's like welcoming these grand, expansive opportunities, and so that was like a common thread. Now the story goes way on, but that's kind of the basis, the basis.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then you decided to return to Ireland.
Yeah, well, that was like just 6 years ago. I have young children now,
Okay.
and I didn't really want all the concrete. I wanted them to have the green hills. I mean, America, don't get me wrong, was great, but they have the grandparents and they have a farm, and so
Yeah.
that was the reason for coming back. So yeah.
And I've met, like, I lived in Australia for only just a year, but I've met so many Irish people that they've moved abroad, they've had a great opportunity, and then suddenly they're like, I want a little bit of the green back. I think there's definitely a connection to the place here, and people always feel the need to come back. So it's
Absolutely.
huge.
I
Yeah.
was like, where's the forest? Because I live in San Diego and I did a few years in Vegas. I was like, take me to the forest with the mulch trees, please. And but the please. And I was like, okay, go back.
And are you originally from Wexford yourself?
Well, I was born in Dublin, raised in Delcany and Wicklow area,
Lovely.
and then the reason for Wexford is my parents have a farm here, so it was like it just made
Amazing.
sense. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay, Amanda, if you do have any questions, drop in. We'll talk for a couple of more minutes. But if you do have any questions in terms of Feng Shui or your love mindset or anything else or anything we covered today, please let us know.
Yeah,
We'll
love to answer any questions anybody has. And
uh,
we say there's no such thing as too small a question or a silly question or anything like that. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
everybody learns from the questions. So bring them on.
But it is, and I suppose you mentioned something, and it's something that comes up a lot for clients in the sense that they will say things like, I'll buy that house when I have a partner, or I'll go to New York when I have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And it's something that I used to do myself, and it's a big. Now that I suppose I've learned that that holds us back and actually can hold us back from achieving what we want, whether it is the house or whether it is love or more money or a new job. When we say things like "I'll be happy when," it's actually a really, I don't know why we do that to ourselves. It's something that I don't know where it's come from or where we learned that as kids to speak like that to ourselves, but it's definitely something it's well worth unlearning. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's like creating those new pathways, and
Mm.
I'm not worth the new sheets. I'm not worth the trip to Italy. But it's like just the minute you start putting things in motion energetically, you're already in that flow, but also I deserve and I am love and I am that expression of love. So I love that, you know what I mean? It's like just go for it, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally. Listen, Amanda, if anyone does have any questions, they can obviously send you a DM on Instagram afterwards, and likewise to myself. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to
Oh,
you.
teamwork chatting with you too.
I know we had a little bit of technical, but I think these things make it more fun. I'm like, this is Instagram Live. If this happens, but it's always good. But it's lovely to connect with another person in Ireland that's doing this kind of work, and it's really, I suppose, important. And it's something that the more that I was reading the books over the last couple of weeks about Feng Shui, coming up to the Lunar New Year, I started to try and move things around the house. Because it isn't about going out and buying a ton of new things. It's about just maybe moving things that maybe we're sitting in the wrong space and could be better in a new space. And it's such a lovely, I suppose, concept, and it's very much aligned with the law of attraction, which seems quite a big concept at the moment. And you're putting out your intentions of what you want and what you desire, and then looking for confirmation of it. So I think it's such an ancient, but at the same time such a modern concept.
Yeah,
A lovely combination.
absolutely. And you know, we spend 80% of our time inside, and then gosh, with COVID over the last few years, it was like that went way up, and people working and sleeping and eating and lovemaking and everything from home. So like that beautiful container, because we don't have control of how the restaurant's set up or how the library's set up or how the retail stores. We can tell when those energies are off, right?
Yeah.
Especially for being an empath, like, oh, when I go to a space that's off, you know what I mean? Whereas we do get to choose, we do get to consciously choose how we set up our homes, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it's lovely. And it's lovely to be able to have that mark, and just even the idea of just the 5 elements, the colors, using some crystals, just some different plants. It's such a beautiful thing, and such a unique, I suppose, opportunity for us to, I suppose, enliven our homes and bring in positive energy. And absolutely, like our homes are our sanctuary. They are essentially like our little temples. So it's lovely to just sit in, I suppose, in a more peaceful home and a more relaxing home, and just work on the energy. Because I hear people all the time say things like, oh, I can't rest at home. I don't want to be at home. And I think, my God, like, this is your home. It's
I
the
know.
one place you should want to be in. I love going home, in the sense that even now, maybe I'm getting old, maybe that's what's happening, but even on a night out or whatever else, you're like, I wouldn't mind just going home.
I'm right there with you, right there.
Yeah. I think
Oh, I
wine on the
know.
couch would be more fun than this. This is just, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah, and you know, one thing I'd like to add is the amount of homes that I go in and out of, and like let's just say there's a couple of guest bedrooms and they're set up for the guests that come 1 week a year, right?
yeah.
But they would love to have an art room or a music room or a yoga room, meditation, whatever.
Mm.
Like set the home up for
Yeah.
you in your home, that for you guys to thrive. Don't worry about anybody else. Don't be people pleasing, you know, just, you
Yeah.
know, like just set it up of how you want to live your life, you know, so.
Absolutely. Amanda, thank you so much for coming on today. It was a pleasure to speak to you.
Love
And I'm sure
you.
we'll be in touch, and I'm sure maybe we can do something like this again in the future.
Sounds amazing. Thank you
Thank
very
you, Amanda. All
much.
the best.
Take care.
See you.
Bye.